Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss about the Wheatstone bridge circuits. Actually, in strain gauge, what happens because of the application of load, the strain gauge where they are subjected to strain because due to the application of load, their length and cross sectional area changes. So, because of which strain is your change in dimension by original dimension. So, because of the change in dimension, it is subjected to some strain. So your resistances, I have already told you all those things. So your resistances are equal to rho L by A. So because of the change in length and cross sectional area, your resistance changes. So that change in resistance, the delta R value, we measure using a Wheatstone bridge. So in case of Wheatstone bridge, there are two conditions. One is null condition or balanced condition. NuLL, null condition, or you can say this is a balanced condition. Second one is deflection mode or unbalanced condition. So first we will discuss about the null condition or balanced condition. So how a Wheatstone bridge looks like, it basically consists of, in case of balanced condition, it consists of, the Wheatstone bridge basically consists of 4 resistors, 4 amps, which includes 4 resistors. So suppose I'll name it as A, B, C and D. Between A and C, the galvanometer is connected. Galvanometer shows the voltage difference between junction A and C. That means that is equal to voltage drop across AB minus voltage drop across BC. So the supply voltage or source voltage that is connected between B and D. So the supply voltage is connected between this B and D. So here, in case of balanced condition, suppose we have attached the strain gauge here. So suppose the strain gauge initial resistance is R1, this resistance is R2, this resistance is R3 and this is R4. So in case of balanced condition, we use a variable resistor. So the R4 is a variable resistor. The resistor with a arrow symbol is a variable resistor. So this is a variable resistor. R2, R3 are the fixed resistors and R1 is the unstrained resistance of the strain gauge when we have not applied any kind of load to the strain gauge. So in case of so here we have connected the supply voltage, so the current will flow, so it will go through this. Then here at the point D, the AB and BC are connected parallelly, so it will, suppose I1 current is flowing through AB, then through BC I2 current will flow. Just like your suppose this is a tank. From this tank you have joined a pipe and from here two parallel pipes are connected. So the amount of fluid which will flow through this pipe will be different than this pipe because both are connected parallelly. But what will happen if we will connect two pipes in series? This is one pipe and this is second pipe and the two pipes are connected in series. So here the amount of fluid which will flow through this pipe will be same as the amount of fluid which is flowing through the second pipe because both are connected in series. So in this case what will happen? Same here for current also. So here AB and AD are connected in series and BC and CD are connected in series. So if the galvanometer is not drawing any current, we have assumed that the galvanometer is infinite impedance. That means impedance is your sum of resistance and reactance. So suppose your impedance is infinite, that means your resistance is also infinite. So from the Ohm's law, V equal to IR. So current is V by R. So current is inversely proportional to resistance. So suppose your resistance is infinite, then current is equal to 0. So what will happen here? It will not draw any current. So the amount of, as these are connected in series, AB and AD are connected in series, so the amount of current that will flow through AB will be same as the amount of current that is flowing through AD. So suppose I1 current is flowing through AB, then obviously I1 current will flow through AD also, because this galvanometer is not drawing any current. Similarly, suppose I2 current is flowing through BC, then I2 current will obviously flow through CD also, because the galvanometer is not drawing any current. So the current flowing through AB is I1, and current flowing through AD is I1, and current flowing through BC is I2, and current flowing through CD is I2. Next, what is the voltage drop across AB? What is the I1 value? I1 equal to V equal to IR. So I equal to V by R. So I1 equal to V supply divided by R. Here I1 current is flowing through AB and AD. So it is flowing through resistance R1 and resistance R4. So in this case, what is the net resistance? As they are connected in series, the net resistance is the summation of two resistances, that is R1 plus R4. So I1 is R1 plus R4. Similarly, I2 is supply voltage divided by net resistance, that is R2 and R3 are connected in series, so net resistance is R2 plus R3. So I2 is Vs by R2 plus R3. So what is voltage across AB? So VAB equal to voltage across AB equal to V equal to IR. So voltage across AB equal to current across AB into resistance across AB. So that is equal to I1 into R1. So I1 is, you have calculated here, I1 is Vs divided by R1 plus R4. So that is equal to Vs divided by R1 plus R4 into R1. Similarly, what is voltage drop? Voltage across BC, that is equal to I2 into R2. So I2 is, you have calculated here, Bs divided by R2 plus R3. So that is equal to I2 into R2. I2 is Vs divided by R2 plus R3 into R2. So this is VAB, this is VBC. So what is this difference, or the galvanometer reading that will show the voltage difference between A and C, that is equal to VAB minus VBC. So that is equal to dV0 equal to VAB minus VBC, that is equal to R1 divided by R1 plus R4 into your Vs minus R2 divided by R2 plus R3 into your Vs. So in case of Wheatstone bridge, we assume that R1 equal to R2 equal to R3 equal to R4. So when all the resistances are equal, in this case, this will be equal to R by 2R into Vs. So that is equal to Vs by 2, half Vs. This is also equal to, this value is also equal to Vs by 2, because both are same. So this is R by 2R also. So R by 2R means RR will be cancelled, so half. So that is equal to Vs by 2. So dV0 equal to Vs by 2 minus Vs by 2. So that is equal to 0. So this galvanometer will show a 0 reading, because there is no voltage difference between A and C. So this is the balance condition. So in this case, voltage drop across AB equal to voltage drop across BC, that is equal to Vs by 2. So what is voltage drop across AB? That is equal to voltage drop across BC, that is equal to supply voltage by 2. So voltage drop across AB equal to voltage drop across BC, that is equal to your supply voltage divided by 2. So what is voltage drop across AB? That is equal to I1 R1. What is voltage drop across BC? That is equal to I2 R2. Similarly, if we will check that opposite side also, in this case voltage drop across AD equal to voltage drop across CD. So in this case, that is equal to I1 R4 and this is equal to I2 R3. So I1 R4 equal to I2 R3. So initially VAB equal to VBC, that is equal to I1 R1 equal to I2 R2, and VAD equal to VCD, that is equal to I1 R4 equal to I2 R3. So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So if we'll divide equation 1 by equation 2, then I1 R1 divided by I1 R4 equal to I2 R2 divided by I2 R3. So that implies R1 divided by R4 equal to R2 by R3. So this AB and AD are known as ratio arms. So R1 by R4 equal to R2 by R3. This is in case of balanced condition or balanced. So in case of balanced condition, this ratio will be maintained. So R1 by R4 equal to R2 by R3. So what will happen if we'll apply some kind of load to the strain gauge? So in this case, strain gauge will be subjected to some strain, so its resistance will change. So suppose the new resistance is R1 plus delta R. So here to maintain the circuit, because we are studying the balance on all conditions, so to balance the circuit, it will have to maintain this ratio. That means suppose the new resistance is R1 plus delta R. So here we have, in case of balance condition, here we have used a variable resistor. So this resistor will change its resistance so that the voltage difference between A and C will be 0. So this, to maintain this ratio, R4 will also increase its value. Suppose this is increases delta R1 value, the change is delta R1. So R4 will also increase its value to maintain this ratio. So R1 plus delta R1 divided by R4 plus delta R4 equal to R2 by R3. So if we will cross multiply this, R1 plus delta R1 into R3 equal to R2 into R4 plus delta R4. So that implies R1 R3 plus delta R1 R3 equal to R2 R4 plus R2 delta R4. So your unstrained resistance, that is R1, initially it was equal to R2 equal to R3 equal to R4. So let this is R, so R into R plus delta R1 into R3 equal to R2 into R4 plus delta R4 into R2. So here all this will be equal, that implies this will be get cancelled. So this is R3 also equal to R2. So delta R1 equal to your delta R4. So what is your strain gauge resistance? Strain gauge factor. Gauge factor is delta R divided by R divided by your strain. So in this case it is equal to delta R1 divided by R divided by strain. So this delta R1 value, that you will find out from this Wheatstone bridge, and this value R unstrained resistance of the strain gauge, this is R1. So this value you can calculate. So gauge factor, while purchasing the strain gauge, the sensitivity is mentioned. So gauge factor value also you know. So from here you can calculate the strain value. So from the strain, Young's modulus of elasticity is your stress by strain. So from here, stress by strain. So from here you can calculate the stress value, and from the stress equal to force by area. So from here you can calculate the force. So this is about the balanced circuit. In case of balanced circuit, we use two fixed resistor and one variable resistor. So the variable resistor changes its resistance so that the voltage difference between A and C is 0. Next we will study about the unbalanced condition or deflection mode.